Oh, can I turn this around? There we go. I'm hoping this works. That's better. Ooh. Yeah, I had to go to a different, hopefully the audio is working. I'll need to get confirmation from a chat room, but let's see here. Yeah, I'm just not sure if audio is working or not, but I hope that's fine. All right. Ignore the setup for a second. What had happened was, well, this tech stuff is always harder than it looks. And I have an LED light that's out, so it's darker on that side of the room. It's just, I should have prepared for this better. But basically, the way I set this up this time was I was going to stream through the phone using the YouTube app. I'm still opening up here so I can see your questions. And there we go. Sweet, thank you. So man, I look terrible. So the plan was, closer to you guys. To so I set up a live stream on my computer under the YouTube studio, and then I went to my phone, logged into the same application, and it's like, do you want to create a live stream? I'm like, no, I already created one. There's like 5 people waiting to watch it. So I delete that one and start a new one. So let me actually just, well, let's see. I think we have like, now we have 2 things, right? Yeah, so we have 2 things. So, and it says 2 people are waiting. I'm so sorry, guys. So let me just, sorry, real quick, let me just make sure. Let me get this, I'm going to paste this URL to the other room. I hope that works. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick intro, and then I'm going to talk about myself a little bit, and then I'm going to then obviously take your questions. Wait, am I here now? There we go. Jeez, this is ridiculous. All right, sorry. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining in, by the way. I appreciate you coming by. Questions will be in a second. So the problem is I don't really get a lot of subscribers. You know, it's not a game. It's not been the point for a long time. But like, you know, I remember posting on ADD Writer back in June, back when Sterling Norin had like 4,000 subscribers, and I posted into the VDR thread, and I was like, this guy is a really good videographer and only has 4,000 subscribers. You can subscribe to him, and I added like 10, and now he has like 32,000. No, I think he's like 13,000 now. And then Brett Tax, who broke off of Motor Trek, now 32,000 subscribers. And these are relatively new people in the market, but they're also doing things. And so I've always felt as if this isn't really an entertainment channel. Maybe it is. Well, you know, it's about Farkles and parts and how-tos. So the driver for this channel has always been that long tail of Google searchers. You know, some random person, guy or girl, 7 or 10 years from now, picks up an F750 GSUs and just Googles, you know, how do I install these crash bars? they're still going to find the video, whereas a travel video will become stale because it's old. People don't like watching old things usually until it becomes cool again after a while. So anyway, so the last thing I want to mention before I take questions was that because I don't get that many subscribers, I'm only getting like 50 new subscribers a month. So um, I wanted to talk a bit about the upcoming maintenance for the bikes, and then I also thought, well, it's going to be like 5 years before I get 10,000 subscribers. So let me just go and do this now, so it'll still be interesting, even though 9 isn't really an exciting number. Cool. Okay, so let me look at the chat room and see if there are any questions here. And thank you guys, by the way, for doing this and tuning in. Oh, it's low. Okay, so I'm going to. I'm wearing headphones and hopefully it was going through there. Let me try. Thank you. I'm going to try to fix that real quick. So let's do that. One second. So can I change my inputs? Oh, I can make my camera pop. That's nice. No, don't stop streaming. Don't stop streaming. I'm gonna pause this for a second. All right. Let me know if that's better or not. This is my first time ever using the YouTube app for streaming, and so we'll just have to deal with that. And there. Perfect. Okay. So I'll try to talk a little bit louder. Okay. So questions. Hopefully you have them because it's going to be a short experience if you don't. All right. So hi, Solo GS Rider. It's nice to have you watching. There's 6 of you. Holy crap. How many miles are on Rosie now? I don't know. Let's see. It looks like we're going to move around a little bit here. So it appears that we are at 18 something. Yeah, 18,490 is how many miles are on Rosie. And as you guys remember, I got her October of 2019. No, is that right? No, 2018. October of 2018. Right as the R1250 GSs were hitting the dealers in North America, I bought this. As she should have had. Hopefully that answers your question. I'll show you guys what we have working on right now before I put this back in the thing. So we've got Heather's F750 GS. There's some problems with that. I'll go in later. The K75 is running great. There's just a couple things I need to do for improvements. And then finally, Rosie is up on the ABBA stand, which I'll get into that in a little bit if I have more wine. But let me go back to the questions here. Where's my iPad? There it is. Oh, good. I'm glad the audio is improved. I'm trying to talk a little bit louder. So thank you very much, Solo GS Rider. And Solo kind of sucks. Do you have like a local BMW group that you can ride with, or you just sort of like being out on your own? I know this is supposed to be a one-sided Q&A, but so yeah, so this year, pre-COVID, I like to do a big trip every year. The first year I started riding, I got my MSF course in April, and then by late June I did a solo trip of like 800 miles each way around Pennsylvania and back. Horrible rain. I didn't have like waterproof gear. I ended up rolling into like a BMW dealer and bought this bright yellow rain suit. I overpacked. It's all the stuff that you just don't know when you start riding. And then the second year was how did I do the second year? I can't remember. Oh, I rode down. It's also the first year I rode down to Florida from New Hampshire and stored my bike in Florida. And then I rode back that following year. And then I did the Trans-Lab in 2018. And then 2019, I don't know what I did. Went to like every rally, went to the national rally, et cetera. And then this year, the big trip was obviously the one to Colorado and back. Had COVID not happened, the plan was actually to do a Newfoundland trip this year, or a trip to I think it's St. James Bay or St. John's Bay. Basically, if you go to Montreal, if you go to Montreal and then you keep heading north up to where all the dams are, the hydro dams are, not the Labrador side, but kind of the western side, it basically dead ends at a big body of water. And I wanted to ride up to there. It's not a popular ride because it's not a circle. It's you go up and you come back. There's only one road in, but there's a spot. It's so cool. There's a spot that's like 80% of the way to the end of the road, where when you stop, there's like a little park. It's a little car park. And if you walk down this little wooden bridge to the water, you're technically in Nunavut. Like it's like a meter into Nunavut province, but Nunavut's not accessible via car or bike. You have to take a plane, but somehow someone figured out that the boundary right here you can dip in, so you can park in Quebec province, walk over to Nunavut, take a picture, and then walk back, and then of course ride home. So that's what I wanted to do this year, but then the border closed to us. So next year, I think the plan is to do that trip. So just as a my sort of dream. I also wanted to go to the other option this year, if Colorado had not happened, was going to be to fly. Heather and I would fly our bikes on Air Canada over to Calgary, and then ride down to the BMW rally in Montana, and then putz around that area for a bit, like Montana, Wyoming. But that rally obviously got pushed back next year, and then COVID happened, and we can't ship our bikes currently because you've got to drive into Canada. We ran out of questions, so that means I get to talk about the bikes for a second, but feel free to ask some questions. So this year, we're going to be doing some stuff. I guess you probably want to hear about the big GS first. So normal stuff that just needs to get done: air filter, final drive fluid. I never lubed the upper splines on the drive shaft. I've only lubed the lowers. So I'm going to relube the upper ones and the lowers. I'll pull the whole thing out. I do a lot of water riding, so that'd be good. I'm also this year going to pull my front and rear shocks, and those are going to go to Beamer Shop. I might do like some kind of like a 2-minute quick edit video on pulling those shocks. They're going to get not refurbished, but they're going to change the oil, check all the parts. I think it's $175 per shock to do those. I've got some rust, which I'll show you guys in a second. I need to touch up on. I've got my front brake reservoir is seeping a little bit of brake fluid for some reason. It's minimal, but I started noticing that dirt kind of collects there. We have a new windscreen going on. My heated seat is not working again. Sargent's already replaced that heated seat controller once, just last year, so I feel like I shouldn't just ask them for another one, but heated seat stopped working as soon as it got cold outside, which sucked. The Clearwater lights are coming off, and they're being mailed to Clearwater because my Savina and one of my Darlas is flickering. So as you get refurbished or something. The skid plate also needs to be removed, and I'll show you why in a second. And then my Denali sound bomb has also stopped working because it's been slammed on too many times when we're doing off-road riding. So that's going to get done. So I'm going to check for questions, and then I'll show you guys a tour of some of the stuff that we're doing this winter. My girlfriend, who's amazing, by the way, she was like, well, there's nothing to do on the bike this year, right? I'm like, oh, let me send you the list. Scott. Hi, Scott. Okay, yeah, so the 1250. So there was only one moment with this year where I was thinking, isn't it like vindicating? Sorry, my light's like, is that right? It's pointing down. It's a little vindicating that the 1250 owners unfortunately had a bunch of issues this first year with their brakes. No one's getting hurt. I'm not laughing at their misfortune as far as safety goes, but I was like, oh man, I'm so glad I didn't go for a 1250. I've told the story a few times, but the reason why I went for the 1200 GSA literally weeks before the 1250 GSA was arriving in showrooms was because, well, new tech, unproven, but also because the 1200s were going on pretty good discounts. Like I look at Max BMW's side, and these are like 25 grand, a fully loaded GSA without boxes, and I got this for 20,000 flat, I think. Um, there's not 5 grand in the 1250 as it was then, and certainly not as it is now. So that's really why. And that also, that being a Farkle nerd, it took a while for like Altrider and Black Dog and others to get their Farkles upgraded to the 1250. So I was kind of glad that I got to do those immediately. As it stands now, this one is going to be paid off in, I think, a year at most. I always do really short loans for things, and so this is almost paid off. So it's, I think, a 3-year loan, um, and so when that's paid off, who knows? I don't know. I mean, I think what I tell a lot of people with this thing is that it can go 100,000 miles. It's not unreliable at high mileage on the odometer. It's also sorted to exactly the way I want it, like the all the stuff I've added to it. And I'm actually not the kind of person that wants to carry things over from this bike to the next one. I like a clean start. Like I like, while I know certain things get moved over to the next bike, that's actually not my style, because what would happen is a brand new shiny 1250 would come into my garage, and I'd be putting stuff on it there. It's like UV bleached and grungy and stuff. So I'd prefer just to sell it all and start over fresh. And yeah, so I'm thinking that what's a more plausible thing, I think it was Clive that asked that. What's more possible is that I end up actually doing something differently, where this gets changed over to a 1250 GS, and then really trimmed down for off-road riding as much as I can, and then I stick a touring bike in the garage. I would love to take this bike and get a first year 1250 GS with the brake problems fixed, and a current year 1250 RT. And I would like to have those two sitting side by side. And then this K75 would still be the around town bike, and then still have a dirt bike for woods riding. I think that would be like the perfect garage, because while this is a do everything bike, um, the work to make this bike more touring friendly for me has made it too heavy for off-road riding. And I think I'm in this weird part where identity crisis with that. So let me show you those couple things I was talking about while the questions are still coming in. But that was a good question, by the way. So so I've noticed that the brake seeping is happening. It's cleaned up now, but it's basically happening right here. I'll start to notice a little bit of like fluid here under hard braking scenarios. Obviously, I have an aftermarket cover, so it's possible that I clean it up and do the best I can, and then next year I just go back to the OEM top on this one just to see if that fixes my problem. In addition, obviously the Sargent controller stopped working again, which sucks. I had the Touratech frame guards on here, so these were fitted, and they were fitting like this, right? And then you'll see here though that I haven't cleaned it up yet, but they've done this number. So they're like, so thanks Touratech, you didn't protect my frames. I mean, you did guard my frames, but then you you made them prematurely rust. It's not the big deal. I'll just some touch-up paint, sand it down a little bit, but you can see there as well. So obviously, the rear subframe is not a cheap part. The last thing I was talking about was the skid plate. Was basically there's this M6 right here, and this is what holds the Altrider skid plate and your center stand in place. And on both sides, the bolt, the carrier, the catcher, whatever you want to call it, it's on the other side of this piece here, now spins in place. And so I emailed Jeremy at Altrider and I said, if I stick like a 11 mil wrench kind of in here, with the center stand down, I can get that torque down, no problem with Loctite. But it's kind of annoying. He says, "Oh, he'll just repress some PIMs in here for me." So he said, "Just mail him the skid plate, and he'll do it for me." So that's a winter, very similar to the shocks getting serviced, just a winter project. So he dock back, and I'll go back to my. Oh, and one other thing too. So I replaced the V-Stream windscreen with a new V-Stream windscreen. The reason why is all of this spottedness here, and you guys are gonna laugh at me because it means I'm really neurotic. What actually happened was it became impossible to clean this thing because I was using um, Rain-X glass cleaner on this, and V-Stream for some reason sells a glass cleaner for their poly windscreens. And I emailed them. I said, "Why is that?" They said, "Well, because the Rain-X strips the layer off and makes it impossible to clean." And I said, "Oh, is that why I have to buy one of these every year?" And they said, "Yes, stop using Rain-X." So I bought a new screen at a good discount, and I bought their glass cleaner. So I'm starting fresh. So I know you guys know I'm neurotic, but that's the situation. All right, back to questions. And I know I'm talking fast tonight, but I'm also just trying to be helpful with your schedules as well, because I know everyone is busy. Whew, okay. I should, yeah. So Clive, so I think the best way to wrap up that question is that I would not add all these extras. I think a 1250 GS would get the shocks, and they would get the alt-rider crash bars and skid plate, and they would get basic hand guards, like just bark busters, not the Machine Art Motos. And I would get it set up where I could put a Moscow Reckless 80 on the back with a flat seat and a short windscreen. And like that would be, and maybe fixed risers. But I mean, I would do a very slimmed down R1250 GS rally with just the stuff for protection on there. And then I would build up like an R1250 RT with the lights and a more comfortable seat, and a bigger windscreen. I would do all the touring stuff. I really would like a touring focused bike. It's hard. I won't get into it, but it's hard because, the GSA was fantastic in Colorado. All of my friends that rode with me were like, you did really well for how heavy this bike is. This thing weighs 607 pounds. So, all right. K-Ace, thank you. What do you think about the future of the F750 GS? It doesn't seem to be that popular. Oh my God, I know. No, everyone hates it. I mean, I'll get into this. I'll be for a second. So BMW seems to. So BMW needs a middle-class adventure bike, middleweight adventure bike. Every other manufacturer is selling middleweight adventure bikes like hotcakes. I mean, they're just everywhere. And the excitement around the Tenere 700 and the KTM 790, 890, even the 690 Enduro, the new Tiger models, like the 850 and 900 now, these are hugely popular bikes. And then BMW comes out with a 750, which I think is technically and mechanically better than all those other bikes, and electronically better. It's nice. And if you look at the sheer MSRP, not the 850 is a harder sell because it like goes up to like 18 grand or something. But I think we paid 11 even for her 750, which is much less than the KTM and Triumph and Yamaha. Well, the Yamaha I think is 10. But this has way more fun tech stuff, and the 850 is probably like what 2 or 3 grand more. So here's what I've been told, is because I'm always on the Farkle train. All of the small manufacturers aren't making parts for the 750 or they're making them next year or the year after, because they've told me that no one's asking for the parts. And then you go to dealerships and they're like, oh yeah, this is the starter bike for a lot of people, the 750 low, and people aren't buying the G310, they're buying the 850 or 1250. But then if you go to outside of the US, like if I look at the demo, if I select in YouTube Studio all the 750 GS Farkle videos, and then I do analytics, the other countries outside of the US, the Mexico, the Poland, the Croatia, the Sweden, the India, Malaysia, Thailand, Australia, they're all watching 750 videos. And I think that what I'm seeing is all the American Farkle companies and the American dealers are saying the F750 is selling too well, but I think in the rest of the world, it's a very popular bike. It's just my feeling. But no, I don't see them. I think I've seen one ever in person that wasn't in a BMW rally, that was on the street, just driving around. And it was some guy from New York passing through Vermont or something. But that's it. So I don't know. I think that BMW, as a German company, the 750, if they keep making the 850, the 750 is not hard to keep around. But then again, they had a 650 and killed that. So who knows? I would like the 750 to be continually improved upon, but it's always going to follow the 850's progress and just get detuned. But it's really an amazing. And it sounds with the Akrapovic silencer and the we removed the resonator underneath the seat, which saved like 15 pounds. It sounds really good. I rode it the other day to get ethanol-free fuel in it for Heather because it was empty, and I gave it some gas, and it just the twin sounds amazing. So
It's not too loud. If you want to add a muffler to it, it sounds really, really good. Okay, any other questions from you guys? We are at 9,000 subscribers. The growth rate has been consistent, as in, I think I added 2,000 subscribers last year, and I'm adding about 2,000 this year, if the projection continues. So, as those of you know who have been on this for a while know, every year in like New Year's Eve timeframe, I do a year in review video where I go through all the stats. So please stay tuned for that. But basically, everything from last year is the same as this year, except for the AdSense money, which is like greatly increased this year for some reason. So there was adpocalypse in March, where due to the stock market tanking and people just not sure what the economy was going to do with spending, which was proven totally wrong in the motorcycle market because everyone went on and bought bikes. March, my ads just plummeted. It was like $50 or something like that. It was ridiculous. But since then, it's recovered and like doubled. So August, September, and October ads were about $450 a month, which basically just covers this guy's payment fully, pre-tax, of course. So no complaints on the ad stuff. It's about double what it was last year, even with the same amount of views and same amount of subscriber growth. So clearly what's been happening is, as I get more subscribers, YouTube is able to better understand what kind of videos you guys like to watch, and then offer those videos to my subscribers at a higher CPM rate. So my CPM has gone up, even though my monetized playbacks has not gone up. It's kind of interesting stuff if you guys care about that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, I know. Like, I'm going to show you guys the 750. It's an amazing looking machine, and Heather and I rode it quite a bit this year. We took a few overnight trips on it. There we go. It's here. A few overnighters on it. As you guys remember, was it July or August that I went up to Colebrook and proposed to Heather, and she thankfully said yes. We rode the bikes up for that weekend. So the only problem that she's having with hers electronically is it's always self-imposed. The D7s aren't working right now. The Denali D7s aren't working, and I think it's software related. We're going to plug the laptop into it and reset the CanSmart firmware, and that should fix the D7s. But obviously her D2s are still working great. Everything is really good because her bike only has like 2,000 miles on it. Both of our bikes were actually rented out this year. And the mat set's great, by the way. This is an awesome windscreen. It goes up higher. This is the low setting. You've got a nice little bar here, as you can see, to move this up and out. We both rented our bikes out twice this year on Twisted Road. And I think we've charged like 160 or 180 a bike. Pretty cool service. People rented them and then took them out overnight and brought them back, and no problems. But her bike's been brilliant. The only problem that Heather had this year, I guess mechanically, was again based on Farkles, was that we had the Moscow Moto bags, as you guys know, have these straps that go down the back here, and she left one of these unclipped, and so thankfully nothing bad happened, but basically it was unclipped. It got yanked down into, let's see if the road rash used to be on here, but it got yanked down obviously into the chain. And then thankfully it broke away from the Moscow bag and just flew onto the street. There was no remnants of the cable that had ever been down there. So obviously destroyed the bag, but it didn't lock up a rear wheel. She wasn't sent flying. So I would say in the realm of issues, I have to lube this, don't judge me. In the realm of issues, that was as good as it could have gone. Seriously. But no, I think this bag is fantastic. I've thought about, I love the Boxer motor, but obviously a consideration when I was talking earlier was that this becomes an F850 GS, and then get an R1250 RT for a touring bike would be certainly an option. But once you're on F850 GS territory, you're pretty close to base GS weight, and then you lose that Boxer motor. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. It's a 3-year thing though, so we can't really talk too future about that. right, I'm checking if there's any more other questions, and then I will wrap this up. Whoops, sorry guys. All right, there we go. I drink my wine too. If no other questions, that's fine though. I just thought it'd be fun to do this. I thought there might be some questions because, as you guys all know, the bikes have been outside all year, and they're just now getting inside. I'm just now getting kind of that phase of taking them all apart. Whew. David from Costa Rica, hi. Heather and I were watching a couple of motorcycle videos in South America this year. Ecuador was a popular one that she was like, we should fly to Ecuador and like rent some bikes. And I'm like, I know, we totally should. um, the Latin American riding, it's gorgeous down there. You guys have a pretty beautiful place to ride, and so we're definitely jealous, especially right now because it's snowing tonight, and you're probably not in the snow. All right, anything else, guys, before I wrap it up? Because we've gone on for way too long. Nothing. Sweet. All right. Well, then in that case, I'll keep this open for a couple more seconds. But thank you. 9,000 of you. I never imagined that there would be 9,000 people watching these videos, but I appreciate it. It's nice to have that sort of community around these videos. You guys seem to enjoy them, so thanks for that. It's going to be a good winter, as you guys can tell. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I'll put this list in front of the. It's on the Rosie Red build thread on Adventure Rider too, if you want to read it. But we have quite a bit of things that need to get done to all the bikes, and so yeah, plenty to do. Tonight I'm making my brine for my turkey, which we're not doing Thanksgiving this year with anyone. We're doing it by ourselves, but making a brine for a turkey, which will go in tomorrow morning for 3 days, and then I smoke it and slow roast it at like 250 for like 30 hours, and I wake up every hour and I baste it. It's going to be amazing. So I'm looking forward to that, and hope you guys have a nice Thanksgiving. Hope you have a good Christmas, and I'll see you later. If I missed any questions, I'll respond to them in the chat afterwards. All right, guys, ride safe and be safe. Bye. How do I turn this damn thing off? There we go. Found it.